In this demonstration, we'll learn how to create a task list. So we're going to go ahead and go into Site Contents, and we are going to add an app, and we'll take a look at tasks. We'll call this Who Does What. Notice under Advanced Options, we can give it official title and description. And then notice here, because we did bring in our task list, who does what, here's today, and we can add tasks with dates right here to the timeline itself. So I'm going to go ahead here and click on New Task. And under Start Date, let's go ahead and make that tomorrow. And let's go ahead and assign this to someone. And Jim will be the lucky recipient. And I'll go ahead and hit Save. So now what you see is that we have Jim Hance, who can book a site, and we can technically add these tasks or have them start to appear to the timeline. Now, when you start working with the timeline, sometimes we do have a refresh that has to take place, but notice here we have task dates today, time scale, we've got date formats. We can also do starts and finish. Notice this happens to be this particular date format, but we can have any format we want. And when we're all done, we can continue to add some tasks. If we were to go back into our timeline, notice we can go ahead and lock the timeline width if we want to, which means we have a current width for all users. We can take that lock off. And as we continue to work through the project and some of the tasks, you're going to see little by little this will build up, but this will also tell you the span of time. Notice the start was 3:25, the finish is 6:25, and it'll always mark where we are in the process of this timeline. So as we're adding new tasks, I'll just show you that here we can give it a click. Once we click on it, we of course have our context-sensitive menus. So we have our tasks, again, new item. We can view the item in its great detail. We can edit the item, delete it, of course, but we can also get into inserting out items, and of course, we've got full outline structures, so we have parent tasks, etc. So, in example, I'm going to go ahead and add a new item, and this new item will be choose lodging. And we can give this a due date if we wish. But once this whole task is in there, we can go ahead and choose to indent this. We can also move it down. And you'll see now we're starting to do some summaries. And maybe I'm going to insert another task. And notice it's all at that same level. Now, Conference Center, because of where I added it, ended up back here at the left margin. But again, all we need to do is to click away from it so it's saved, click back on it, and then indent it in. Notice here we can also do our outdent. So when you have your tasks, we have this ability to book all of this information and then to edit it at any time. So if we're going to choose a meal location, I want to make sure that that's done by tomorrow. And here, I might want to go ahead and choose my lodging, but I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that's done by next week. Now, of course, that means I'm just a little bit out of sequence here because I would probably pick lodging before meals, but, you know, who's to say? Let's go ahead and do that. Conference Center, and we'll make sure that's booked by next Friday. So As I had mentioned, now that we've got a chance to start adding tasks and start adding due dates, you're going to see here, we now have this timeline so that we can see exactly where items are on the timeline. So now if I was to go ahead and look at lodging, we might be able to see where that timeline is. But we've got some options to show exactly what needs to be done right now. So the whole point of the timeline is to show again where you are in this task or process and to show you what is immediately at hand for you to work on. If you choose to go ahead and add other items to the timeline, notice now that they're in and saved, I can add all sorts of stuff. So now we have our meal location, we have our lodging, and now we can add the conference center, and there we have it. So with the tasks in the timeline, step one is to add the tasks. If you want to group them together, then go ahead and indent and outdent them. Make sure you have due dates for the tasks, and then one by one, add the ones of great importance right there to the timeline so you have a working timeline.